Kenny, how's just the back and forth nature of the way this camp is ended?
That's how it should be. Like, good teams are back and forth, you know. That's what I told you after practice. Like, that's what you want. You want to be humbled and feel horrible, and then you want to feel good, then you want to feel horrible again. And that's what this camp has been. So I've been happy with them. This is the last practice of true fall camp. So I was happy with how the whole thing kind of went, not just one day.
Coach, can you talk about the humidity coming inside here today?
Yeah, we're just trying, we haven't had rain here, which is, we didn't have rain up north. And playing in like post-rain or post-monsoon or just humid environments is a little bit different. It's a little stickier. So, we turned the AC off in here and we got some air, or we got some of these fans that blow some water in the air. We'll keep this rocking until Saturday. So we'll try to have one more practice on Saturday when we get back. And hopefully it'll be way hotter in here and way stickier, because I want our guys to get used to playing in different environments. Like I told them, the last 3 days of camp are really, we're not game planning a team, but we're FIB soloing a wide receiver. What are we going to do on defense? Unbalanced, how are we going to play a team that does that? All right, it's sticky and humid. How are we going to play in those environments? A little different. We're just trying to take these last bits of camp and really put ourselves in situations that we're going to be in throughout the season this year. Not specifically one game, but just in general.
How did you feel when you saw that Tyson was named a preseason All-American? How do you think that he felt?
Well, I mean, felt good. I would think he would feel good. It's a lot better to be a postseason All-American than a preseason All-American. I don't even know what really a preseason All-American means. It's like people like you, but he deserves it. He deserves all that. He's earned all that. He's worked for all that. But he didn't work for the preseason. He worked for the postseason. And I think, he came out and had a great day today, one of his best days since we let him come back after we were kind of managing him a little bit. So, I love to see our guys get recognized for the work they've been.
What do you think are some of the biggest differences between the end of fall camp and starting to game plan?
Well, the biggest difference is you split up scouts. And then on top of splitting up scouts, you shrink your playbook. I mean, we could probably run a combination, if we really wanted to, of 1,000 plays. Now, that's way too many, right? On offense, we're going to shrink that down to 60, 70, right? So what you have is this huge arsenal in camp that you pull from, and you challenge guys to learn, and you want them to fail, and then you give them comfort in a game week. So the biggest difference, I would say, is things should be sharper. There should be less MAs. The detail on things should be better because you're focusing on those 65 plays. I know you're focusing on those 14, 12, whatever that number is, and the game plan calls on you, and you're adjusting them. So everything should be smoother and cleaner when you get to it.
Which areas do you feel like you guys have improved the most in the last 4 weeks?
It's a good question. I think special teams. I think not just our kickers, snappers, punters, holders. I think our special teams units as a whole look better. We're way further along. Would be an area that I would say. I would say our pass protection, especially from the running backs, has been drastically improved from that perspective. And then I've been pleased with our pass rush when they get into those must-pass scenarios at defensive line and defensive end in particular. So there's been a bunch of growth for the team. I've been very happy with where we're at. And like I told the guys after it, we have talent. We beat a lot of teams that were talented last year because we played harder. And if we don't play harder than the opponent, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to continue to reiterate that from now till forever. You got to play hard. And that's going to be the testament of this football team is how hard do we play, how much are we not willing to lose. What will you do to not lose? What will you do to not lose? And that's a testament of a good team.
You've avoided any major injuries at this point. How are you feeling about just the health of the team?
Yeah. Let's keep it rocking, baby. So, but no, testament to those guys. These guys are in the cold tub every day. They're getting treatment. I mean, what we do with our stretch and how we've changed things after year one, and Coach Joe in the off season, and these guys practicing hard and physical, but staying off the ground. One thing I like to ask is all the transfers, how is this camp compared to other camps? And there's not one guy, well, there was one who said it was the same. I'm not going to say who, but other than that, every other transfer said this camp is significantly harder than the place they came from. And that's the goal. People see the basketball hoop and they see the JT through the legs. But what isn't talked about is the work that these guys put in and the grind and the challenging practices that we put them through. These guys have endured a lot this camp, and I'm proud of them.
Is there any message you give to them about time management with school starting on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, we have a really good setup because our facility is right across from academics. And then there's so many online classes with the setup at Arizona State and Dr. Pro. And it allows our players to, not always have to go to the class, be able to go get a one-on-one tutor session and kind of skip a beat. So our players' efficiency here with how our school is set up and the location of our facility with the tutor center is the most efficient place I've ever worked for kids to get their work done and do it at a high level.
You talked about some of the strengths these last 4 weeks. What are maybe one of the things you want this team to continue working on and getting better at the last few days of camp?
I'd say the initial instinct to run the football. I think that's a little bit down. I think that initial instinct to run the football and that drive on every single rep to run the football is down. Now, it was really, really high in the camp, so it kind of naturally you would think happens. But it's a little bit down. I want to make sure we get that back before week 1, that passionate want to go get the ball. That's how big plays are denied, and that's how big plays happen.
Coach, you talked about the history of preseason expectations last week, just about how the results have been. What have you told the team about all that stuff?
I showed it to them. I said, guys, it's hard. It's hard. We live in a great city. And when you have success, one of the negatives of living in my opinion, it's my favorite city, right? Born and raised here, so I'm jealous. But one of the negatives of it is there's so many things to do and there's so many distractions. That once you have success, everybody talks about you. You're in a major city, but you're a college town, and you're still kind of a pro team in a major city. So you get the pub of this. You're the superstars of this major city. You can get to do a bunch of things. And you got to be able to understand that it's so temporary, right? What comes fast can go fast, just like that. So we've talked a lot about, teams have not won. Only one team has won the Big 12 outright in back-to-back seasons in the history of the Big 12. Nobody's done it. Our program has not succeeded having 2 seasons like we just had back to back, right? So it's just having them understand how challenging what they're about to do is, and how if you don't focus on the right now, if you don't put in the work, right, there's a reason history repeats itself. It's not an accident. So we have a tough task because we're trying to break 50 years of history, and I want to make sure they understand how difficult it is to break 50 years of history. Right? And it's very challenging, and we've got a tough task.
It's Saturday when you start to kind of putting more in the game plan.
Yeah, we haven't started game plan yet. We'll prep it as a coach. I'm not a big 2-week out game plan guy. I've been a part of that. I think sometimes you get too much in. I'd much rather get in a real game plan rhythm, like a real game plan week. From that perspective, even on bye weeks, I've been around places that we put too much in early. And you kind of restart when you have 2 days off and you rewatch it. And your guys are like, what are we running? We've done twice as much as normal. So we try to limit that until true game week. We'll dabble in some NAU stuff as a staff here this week, midweek, and then we'll present some of it. On Saturday's practice, we'll start introducing. NAU does a great job. If you look at their defense, they're gap zero, they're in gaps. Zero presentation, drop out in quarters. They're very, very exotic. When they run their quarterback in offense, so it's +1 runs. So they do a really good job schematically. So we are going to use a little bonus, half of a bonus day on Saturday to kind of work on them just because they are very unique. And, they had a good season last year. They returned a good amount of guys, so it's going to be a good challenge.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thank y'all.